Hello, and welcome to episode 27. I would very much like to share with you on A Course in Miracles, lesson 49. Especially the first part of it, has so really great messages. So the title is God's Voice Speaks to Me All Through the Day. So let's start by saying all of us get messages all day long. And the question for most people, are these God's messages? Are these the ego's messages? In other words, are they trash or do they have value? And how can I tell the difference? That's the biggest question. I would say beginnings students of A Course in Miracles. And if we're telling the truth, the greatest teachers of all are always discerning about the voice. So let's go on reading what it actually says, lesson 49. It is quite possible to listen to God's voice all through the day without interrupting your regular activities in any way. The part of your mind in which truth abides is in constant communication. I would say, let's translate that with you. It says with God, whether you are aware of it or not. It is the other part of your mind that functions in the world and obeys the world's laws. It is this part that is constantly distracted, disorganized, and highly uncertain. Let me add on to here right now. This is what the beginning lessons of A Course in Miracles says. It's highly junk. It's garbage. The Course in Miracles beginning lessons tell you that you're not thinking at all. And when you're thinking with the ego, you're comparing, you're coming with lack, you're telling yourself in 1,000,001 ways that you're not good enough. You have imposter syndrome. How can it be true that all these best-selling authors who are in groups with me, all of these TEDx speakers with millions of listeners have imposter syndrome? Is it that so many people just need to get better or more enthusiastic, more real, more authentic, more confident, more able, more worthy? No, we are all worthy. It's a mistaken idea that it's like the emperor's new clothes. Everybody thinks it's a secret that he, she, they, it, them, whatever your pronoun, you feel it's just you, and you think that it's the confident ones, the ones that are in politics or leadership positions or actors and actresses, or these days, maybe it's even social media. What do they call them? Influencers now. That's the latest for millenniums. They want to be influencers, which means they want people to follow them. They don't even necessarily want a skill or competence as long as they have followers. It's getting more and more shallow. We don't even have to get stuff. When I was raised, we were all trying to get somewhere or get something or get some level of competence. Now you don't even have to get the Gucci shoes or the purse or whatever it is the men get, the Rolls Royce. You just have to stand in front of the Rolls Royce store, take a picture of yourself, or go in the car place. What do you call the car place? Whatever you call it, and take a picture of yourself in the car and put it on social media. You don't have to buy the car. So we get more and more fake, but we forget that we were just trying to solve a mistaken idea of what we are. So let's go on with lesson 49. So far, what we've heard is that we're hearing voices all day long. Some voices are of truth, and they are buried further underneath and behind. And some voices are superficial and chatter loudly all day. But we can really quite easily learn that those voices are junk. We can hear them and not touch them. We can hear them and do nothing about it. So, paragraph 2, the part that is listening to the voice for God is calm, always at rest, and wholly certain. We're going to talk some more. That part is listening to the self. The voice of God is the self with a capital S. The voice of God is awareness with a capital A. Awareness is consciousness. Awareness is life. Awareness is realization and awakening. It is what we've always been. It's not a party. It's not a high. It's not a low. It is love, but it's not a low. It's not a whoopee, congratulations. It is that quiet, certain peace that passes all understanding. And then it says the most brilliant thing of all. It is really the only part that is. The other part is a wild illusion, frantic and distraught, but without reality of any kind. Try today not to listen to it. Try to not identify with the part of your mind where stillness, It says try only to identify with the part of your mind where stillness and peace reign forever. So let's talk about how do we do that? How do we do that? Very easily, if you'll follow me. So when you were in utero, no matter the kind of pregnancy your mother had, whether she wanted you, whether she didn't want you, whether she was physically sick, whether she was raped, it does not matter her response, in the sense that you were one with whatever that was. If she was upset, you might have been one with upset, because that's all there was. You were one with whatever was in the utero, whatever your experience, that was your experience. All right, next, you were born. There's a baby. The baby has no labels yet. The baby breathes The baby has gas. The baby has excretions, urinates, defecates. It can't reflect yet. It just is. It is aware that it breathes without commentary. There are no labels called breath. There are no labels called in and out. There's just what is. So being, the am, is first. Then we're taught I is separate from others. You begin to have a name and a gender. You get to be called a her or a he. You get to wear girls' clothes or boys' clothes. You give certain kinds of toys. You get to be told this is the way you eat. This, use a fork, use a spoon. This is food. These are toys. These are yours. These are mine. Say thank you. Blah, 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 blah. But I is started to have the wrong definition. I is starting to be about what you do or do not do, what you have, what is yours that could be gone. Your feelings are said to be you. Your thoughts are said to be you. You have become the receptacle of all of life's misunderstanding of wisdom. But there was something before it. That's what we mean by underneath. Before there was a separate you, there was just beingness. Identity was beingness, meaning life. Not the experience of a certain kind of breath, certain kind of defecation, certain kind of urination, a certain kind of anything. We got mixed up between the breather and what was happened in experience. In the non-dual language, we talk about the objects of experience compared to the one who knows it, who's aware of it. What is awareness? It's just that presence that was there in the baby, that was there before a separate you mistaken ideas. Now, many of us already have an intellectual understanding that we're not the ego, that we are awareness, or we are what God is, not the junk in our heads. And that's good. It starts to give us an understanding. But there's something different about our felt experience. Our felt experience matters. Sometimes we have to do a little bit of a catch up. It takes a little more time for the body to be established in a felt experience. We feel it when someone leads us. We feel it when someone reminds us. But the felt experience took so many years of your living that there was a conditioned response. There are a lot of lessons in the Course that teach you about your holiness. They teach you about your wholeness. They teach you about God's love for you, and this is what you are. There are so many ways to say it. When it involves God, it sounds dualistic. But if you remember that God is what you are, and you practice saying, I, God, then go ahead and use God. If you can't say that, I would suggest using another word until you can. I know the first step before that is to say, I am what God is. It feels just a little more humble. But we're not asked to be these limited ego selves. We're asked to be no thing, which is everything. We're asked to be in full power. And what about that helpfulness prayer in either chapter 2 of the Blue Book or chapter 4 in the Purple Book? I am here only to be truly helpful. Well, what if we talk about that as I am here, the second part, only to do what I'm told? That's a paraphrase. That's what you will anyway, if you're not resisting. What is resistance? Resistance is anything that's not oneness. Resistance is two. Resistance is believing anything that's about lack or ego ideas of needing to be more, do more, have more competence, more love, more forgiveness, more anything. You are already enough. Once again, lesson 189. Come with holy, empty arms onto the love that you are. Let's just breathe into that for a moment. In the now that we are. Isness is in the now. Isness is in the flow. I need do nothing. I will be moved to do whatever needs to be done. I will be informed what to say to whom. And other than that, I will be silent. In that silence, I hear the next step, if there is one. Love is what you are. There is no difference between you and love in the now. There is only now and now and now. Love's voice speaks to you throughout the day. Listen in deep silence. Be very still and open your mind to you are what love is. Go past the noise and sick imaginings to your real thoughts. After a while, you will notice without any work what obscures your real thinking. You notice it from your experience. You are what love is. You are enough. Nothing more is needed. You are eternal. Seek deep into the peace that waits for you beyond the frantic, riotous thoughts and sights and sounds of the insane world. You do not live here. Right now, we decide to enter our real home. Lisa Natoli and I were just discussing, what does decide mean? It feels like there's a personal self deciding. That's the experience as long as we imagine there is a personal self. But actually, the greater you, the one that's you, that's the oneness, decides everything. That is grace. Grace is everything. Grace has no secrets. Grace has no opposites. Grace just is. Grace is yours. You are grace. You are already in the place of welcome. We have already reached God. You are right now everything that God is. You are everything you have been searching for. There is no longer any need to search or seek. You are it right now. Right now, right now, right now. Do not forget that you are the realization of God. What does that mean? Realization is no more doubt. Realization means complete trust. Dove tells us often we can't have partial trust. We can't have a little bit of doubt any more than we can be a little bit pregnant. So let's breathe. Now we are all that we have sought. Release 100% love, 100% nurturance, 100% endorsement. We are never alone. Because there is only oneness, one being, not one separate person connected to another separate person. One being that was never born and never died, but incarnated, and for a while had a certain coloration, a certain embodiment that appeared as a person. But we can still live from what we are. What are we? We're love, not the personal, conditional love. The love that excludes no one or nothing. The love that wants for nothing. Take a very deep breath. You are it. You found your way. It's good to be a seeker, but it's even better to be a finder. Let's be a finder and let's claim that we are everything we've been seeking. Nothing more is needed or wanted. What could you lack? All is provided. Thank you. We have so much gratitude for the life we've been given. It has a sweetness. It has the perfume of courage and knowledge and joy and a smoothness and an evenness. Could grace be even the things that we don't agree with? Yes, things happen. Not everything gets a check mark in our agreement. It's okay to still have a personality. It's okay to have opinions. But if we allow, if we have a welcome, remember, welcome doesn't mean agreement. Welcome means I don't resist. I don't mind. There's nothing I mind, as the great mystics tell us. All is well, even when things are not my opinion. And that's grace. What is freedom? Freedom is allowing. We have a love and a desire for freedom. What if freedom is just letting go of the tug of war? What if freedom is being directed? When we're no longer self-destructive, believing in the small self, is that not freedom? Fighting and resisting our suffering. By allowing that to float away as clouds, we embrace what is and just flow. Flowing even when the waters are rough, our freedom. And so it is. Amen. Thank you so much for joining me today. I have so much gratitude for YouTube, for ACIM Gather, for Lynn Johnson, for Dove Fishman, for all who make this happen, and for the peace that passes all understanding that is my constant guide. Thank you. Amen. Much love. Bye-bye until next time.